Noel dreams of surpassing the strength of his grandfather, a legendary man, but unfortunately, his class is the weakest of all. Therefore, he uses his silver tongue to gather allies, develop strategies, and create the best clan in the world to fulfill his dream. In a small village, a dark abyss opens when the mana in the air reaches a critical mass, creating a door to the demonic realm of the void. The deeper it goes, the stronger the demons that emerge from it. That abyss is 12 levels deep, allowing beast lords to appear in the village and massacre the people. Meanwhile, an old man puts on heavy armor and nostalgically wields a large axe, while his grandson watches him in confusion. The man looks at the boy and tells him they need to leave. He takes him to a shelter with other survivors and orders him to stay there while he buys time for help from the capital. Noel becomes alarmed and tells his grandfather that they don't know if help will be sent and that he cannot fight alone. The grandfather tells him not to underestimate him and reminds him that he is the fearsome Overdeath, the untamed devil, vowing to give his life to protect his grandson. He then goes to the surface and begins cleaving demons with his great axe. By dawn, the battle has ended. Noel ascends to the surface to search for his grandfather and finally finds him, or at least what remains of him. The grandfather tells him that being Overdeath has taken a toll on him over the years and assures him that this is the fate of Seekers. Combat is his reason for living, and they walk hand in hand toward the same death. After saying this, he asks his grandson if he still wants to be a Seeker. The sun rises on the horizon, and Noel assures him that his dream is still to be a Seeker. In response, the grandfather advises him never to accept defeat. Noel promises this and vows to be the best Seeker in history. His grandfather laughs and assures him that he will always love him, then dies. Noel mourns the death of his grandfather, Brandon Stalin, who, in his youth, defeated Cocytus the Silver, a depth beast of level 13. That was Noel's goal. 2 years later, we see him transformed into a Seeker in a group of 4, surrounded by several beasts. Noel orders 2 of his companions, Lloyd and Walter, to intercept the enemy, while his companion Tanya protects the rear. His companions quickly eliminate the beasts without Noel lifting a finger. This is because he is the speaker of the group, the weakest support class of all. The beasts they face are minor vampires, very inferior since they cannot use magic. However, their queen can reproduce any of them. Still, Noel warns his companions not to let their guard down. An injured vampire jumps to attack Noel. Tanya launches an attack to the head and informs them that they don't die unless their heads are destroyed. One of his companions asks why they don't go directly for the queen and avoid so many problems, but Noel refuses. He explains that such missions would be difficult for people of rank C like them. If they finish off the minions before reaching the queen, they would have a better chance of success. Walter agrees with the plan, as Noel is the one who powers them in battle. He must choose which fights to engage in. Additionally, he mentions that if they got this rank B mission, it's thanks to Noel and his magnificent rhetoric. Speakers are a class that specializes in support. With their words, they enhance the abilities of their companions, but their combat skills are terrible, so their survival depends 100% on others. That's why they are considered the worst class. At that moment, a hidden beast attacks Noel with poisonous gas. His companions know they must get him out of there quickly. They organize and take positions, but a beast attacks Tanya. His companions try to defend her and counterattack, but it's useless. They need Noel and his enhancers to face them, but he is incapacitated by the cloud of poison. Walter shouts at Noel to tell them what to do and insults him, saying that he cannot call himself a speaker. Noel remembers his grandfather and tells Walter not to underestimate him. He puts an antidote in his mouth and shoots at the beast. He tells them he will show them how a speaker fights. He uses his abilities to boost his companions' skills by 25%, warns them about the beast's attack, and they easily dodge it. He casts another spell, increasing everyone's energy and mana by 25%. He orders Tanya to raise her shields while the rest of his companions resume the attack. They finally manage to defeat the beast, but Tanya warns him that there are more on the ceiling. She thinks that if they defend the queen, there's no way they can succeed. Noel casts a spell on her, giving her mental clarity, stabilizing her mind, and restoring her desire to fight. He sets a timer for 74 seconds and tells them he will take care of the minions while they focus on the queen. He orders Tanya to keep the shields up while Lloyd and Walter go for the queen with their best attacks. The minions launch themselves at Noel. He uses Wolf's Howl, taking them out of combat, and fires his ice bullet gun to freeze them. One of the vampires manages to escape. Noel knows he has only 1 bullet left. There are 43 seconds remaining, and their claws will pierce him in 28 seconds, just as he planned. He orders Lloyd and Walter to use their most powerful attacks, which he boosts with his magic. Finally, they cut off the beast's head. The vampire attacks Noel, But just at that moment, the beast falls dead along with the queen. The timer reaches 0, they win the battle, and the portal closes. His friends scold him for risking so much with his plan. He remembers his grandfather consoling him after he was assigned to the worst class since he wanted to be a warrior like him. His grandfather told him he was just like his mother, and just like him, he was born to be a seeker. His grandfather prepared to train him to be the best in the world. They head to Etrai, the capital of the Velnant Empire, known for its magical engineering. Since more portals appear in their lands than anywhere else, their inventions and research have focused on countering the portals. When Noel turned 15, he became a seeker, moved there, and formed a team. The group goes to celebrate their victory at a restaurant. The team consists of Walter, the warrior, Tanya, the healer, and Lloyd, the swordsman and leader. Noel knows that the team is missing an explorer, but he is happy with what he has to take his first steps toward his goal. Walter asks why he looks serious and accuses him of still being upset about the payment they negotiated for that mission, since Noel believes they could have gotten double. He tells him not to obsess over money, as seekers should be better, assuring him that his grandfather would say the same. Noel remembers that his grandfather told him to be obsessive about money, as it would allow him to get better equipment to fight, and that fame is just a simple medal for seekers. He tells Walter not to let anyone trample him or say otherwise. Noel assures Walter that he is not upset about the money and that it's old history. Walter, annoyed, tells him that his greed could damage the reputation of the team, Blue Beyond, and asks him to apologize. Noel sarcastically says sorry and points out that he is a better seeker than him. Walter continues to be angry and reminds him that he owes him respect for being 2 years older. Noel tells him that using his age to impose his opinion only makes him look like a spoiled child. Walter explodes, telling him that he only knows how to hide and give orders while the others risk their lives for him. Noel continues with the sarcasm, thanking him for doing everything in the team. Walter grabs Noel by the neck and threatens to kill him. Noel accepts the fight, but at that moment Lloyd stops them and tells them they are making fools of the entire team. He says they need to go and divide the reward. In a garden, Tanya complains about the low payment. Lloyd explains that it's because of the group's costs, like repairing equipment and contract commissions. That's why they only have 250,000 fills per head left, and assures her that they earn more each time, and that soon they will be able to earn even more. Noel points out to Lloyd that the low payment is because they are subcontracted by clans, which receive the initial payment and subcontract someone else to do the work, keeping a large part of the payment as commission. He also asks how much money they have saved so far. Lloyd thinks and responds that maybe 12.8 million. Noel proposes founding a clan with that money. Lloyd reminds him that the government charges them 20 million to do that, but Noel says he will cover the rest since he knows they will earn more money as a clan than being subcontracted. Lloyd tells him that in addition to that, they need a building as the clan's base, which comes with another expense. Noel tells him he knows a place with an affordable price. Tanya adds that they are still C-rank novices and aren't ready to manage a clan yet. Noel tells them they will never be ready and that they need to learn by doing it. He also mentions that he has studied a lot about how clans are structured and managed. Lloyd points out that being so inexperienced, the government will give missions to established clans. Noel replies that on the contrary, since they are young and handsome, the government, which tries to promote seekers to attract more people to the job, will give them focus just as they already do with the clans featuring charming and charismatic seekers. Walter wonders if this is really what the government is looking for. Noel assures him that it is, adding that he is also handsome in his own way, even if not many can see it. Tanya expresses her discomfort with the idea of selling her image that way, but Walter is already convinced and supports the idea of the clan, as he wants to be rich and famous to attract many women. He then asks Tanya if she would sleep with him if he took her side in the argument, but Lloyd quickly stops him. Noel turns to his leader for his opinion, assuring him that if he rejects the idea, he will take his share and try to found his own clan, as that is the next step to surpass over death and fulfill his dream. Seeing the determination in his friend, Lloyd agrees to the clan's formation. He tells them to go home and that they will discuss the details the day after tomorrow. The next day, Walter rushes to see Noel with bad news. Lloyd and Tanya have betrayed them. Noel reads the note left by his companion, Lloyd. Apparently, Lloyd made some bad investments and found himself in debt to dangerous people, so he decided to use the team's funds to pay off his debt and escape with Tanya. Upon learning this, Noel starts laughing uncontrollably. Walter, confused, asks what's so funny. Noel explains that it's amusing how far their companions have fallen. Then, he asks how Walter got the note. Walter explains that he heard about a job at a bar the previous night, so he went to speak with Lloyd. Instead, the landlord handed handed him the note, and Lloyd's room was already empty. Lloyd had left about 2 hours before, around 8 o'clock. Noel quickly deduces that Lloyd and Tanya escaped the city just before the gates closed. Now, it's 9:30 a.m., and it's been nearly 12 hours since they fled, clearly a poor attempt to buy themselves time. Noel suggests checking the city's departure records to find out which gate they used and where they're headed. He knows they didn't rent a horse since that would have required time and paperwork, so they must have fled on foot. Walter agrees and is eager to chase them down, but Noel needs to clarify something first. He asks Walter what he plans to do when they catch up to Lloyd and Tanya. Walter, unsurprisingly, says he'll beat them up and move on. Noel, however, tells Walter that what Lloyd and Tanya did is unforgivable, and this will be a fight to the death. He asks if Walter is truly prepared for that. Walter replies that he'll only be able to if Noel stands by him. Noel points out that they won't recover the money, and chasing after them would be a waste of time. That's exactly why Lloyd and Tanya did it. They didn't think anyone would come after them. Walter grows angry, and Noel reminds him of his personal motto, to repay any wrong done to him 1,000-fold. They head to the Orc Club, but Walter is confused as to why they're going there. Noel tells him that everyone has a role. Walter is a great warrior, but only that. He asks Walter to leave the planning to him. When they enter the bar, Noel boldly announces to all the seekers present that Lloyd and Tanya, members of Blue Beyond, have embezzled the team's funds and fled. He offers $2 million to anyone who brings them back alive. Walter, alarmed, asks why Noel made such an offer. Noel explains that they need to expand their network to find Lloyd and Tanya quickly, and assures Walter he'll soon understand. A team called Lightning Bite volunteers to take on the job. Noel provides them with the time Lloyd and Tanya fled, and suspects they escaped on foot. The leader of Lightning Bite confidently assures him they'll handle it with ease, and the team sets off to search. As word spreads, several other teams also take on the mission, though one group in the back remains unmoved. This catches Noel's attention, and he begins to wonder if he miscalculated. At that moment, an old seeker approaches him, asking for more details about the job. This confirms to Noel that everything is proceeding as planned. Once outside the bar, the old seeker informs them that he saw Lloyd and Tanya leave last night and has a good idea of where they might be heading. Walter demands he tell them, but the old man refuses to reveal anything without payment. He wants the $2 million reward. Noel offers him $1 million, knowing that the old man's team doesn't stand a chance against Lloyd. The old man pushes for at least $1.5 million, but Noel holds firm, refusing to pay more than his original offer. Desperate for cash, the old man agrees and tells them he saw Lloyd and Tanya heading toward Varley, leaving through the south gate. He suggests they may have stopped in Carno village. With this information, Noel sends Walter and the old man's team to the south gate while he takes care of something first. Later, they regroup at the south entrance where the horses are ready. Walter questions Noel about whether he can actually fight their former companions. Noel assures him he won't show any mercy, explaining that he always has a plan for those who betray him. People, he says, are easily led astray. Annoyed, Walter asks if Noel ever trusted Lloyd and Tanya. Noel replies that trusting someone doesn't mean having blind faith, and it's always wise to keep doubts. He even offers Walter the option to stay behind if he's not up for the fight, but Walter refuses, asserting that he's not weak. Noel, however, thinks he's just too soft. Meanwhile, in Carno village, Lloyd and Tanya make camp for the night. Lloyd reassures her not to worry, reminding her that Noel wouldn't chase them since he can't recover his money, but he's mistaken. Noel and his team are already waiting. When Lloyd draws his sword, Noel unleashes a powerful spell that forces them to the ground, defenseless. They take Lloyd and Tanya to a secluded spot for interrogation. Furious, Walter wants to beat Lloyd up, but Noel stops him. He demands to know what Lloyd did with the last of the team's money. Lloyd admits he spent it too. Noel asks if Lloyd invested the money, but Lloyd shamefully confesses he lost it gambling. Everything becomes clear. Lloyd didn't make bad investments. He gambled and got into debt with dangerous people. Lloyd admits that he hadn't meant for things to spiral out of control, but by the time he realized it, he was drowning in debt. He also complains about being burdened with all the responsibilities of leadership, while others only enjoy the privileges. Noel kicks Lloyd in the face, reminding him that he asked to be leader and therefore can't complain now. He continues stomping on him as Lloyd begs for mercy. Tanya, terrified, pleads for Noel to stop. Noel asks if she wants to take Lloyd's punishment in his place and warns her that he won't go easy just because she's a woman. Under the pressure of Noel's spell, Tanya confesses that she too lost the team's money gambling, and she blames Lloyd for not letting her continue when she was certain she could win it all back. As the spell wears off, Tanya accuses Noel of illegally manipulating her mind, but Noel retorts that they're thieves, and under the law, he's allowed to use mind control to extract confessions from criminals. He informs them they'll be sentenced to prison, serving 10 years of hard labor together until they die. Suddenly, the old seeker interrupts, demanding his payment now that the job is done. Noel agrees to pay him, but later. The old man grows angry, accusing Noel of lying. In response, Noel knocks him down with a sharp blow, reminding him that the payment will come when Noel decides. Infuriated, the old man draws a knife, but Noel swiftly disables him with a strike to the chest, recalling a technique his grandfather taught him, a strike called cardiac contusion, designed to stop the enemy's heart for a few seconds. As the old man's team carries him away, a strange, extravagant cart pulls up. Finocchio Barzini, a slaver, steps out, greeting Noel with a polite smile. Finocchio is a member of the Luciano family, the largest mafia in the city. Noel describes him as a refined but vulgar man, cheerful yet ruthless, with the nickname the Mad Clown. Noel scolds Finocchio for taking so long, but Finocchio defends himself, saying he arrived as soon as he was called. Walter realizes that this was what Noel was up to while they waited. Noel had known from the start that he wouldn't recover the money from Lloyd and Tanya, so he planned to sell them as slaves to recoup the loss. When they hear this, Lloyd and Tanya vehemently refuse, but Noel coldly tells them it's better than prison, where few survive. He even tries to soften the blow by saying they might get a decent master. Finocchio inspects them, sets a price, and offers 6 million filis. Noel, unimpressed, thinks it's too low. Finocchio explains that it's a bad time to sell slaves. The church is about to pass an anti-poverty law targeting slave buyers, and the market is weak. Noel, surprised, realizes that not even the mafia dares challenge the church's authority. Still, he demands 11 million. Pleased with the deal, Finocchio prepares to pay, but Noel raises the price to 12 million. Finocchio protests, but Noel continues pushing, raising it to 13 million, then 15 million. Finocchio, now frustrated, grabs Noel, asking what he's trying to pull. Noel then proposes a deal. Sell Lloyd and Tanya for 15 million, but sign a receipt for 30 million, so they can both split the extra money. He suggests that no one would bat an eye if Finocchio purchased 2 attractive young slaves for that price, and Finocchio could easily sell them for 90 million later. Finocchio, nervous, warns Noel that if anyone finds out, they'll both be in serious trouble. He knew Noel was ruthless, but even he didn't expect this level of audacity. He offers Noel a position in the mafia, but Noel declines, simply asking if they have a deal. Reluctantly, Finocchio agrees, but before they finalize it, he turns to the old man and his team, threatening them and their families if they speak a word about the deal. The deal is sealed, and Noel gets paid as they agreed. Desperate, Tanya pleads with Noel, reminding him that they were once friends. But Noel, without emotion, replies that friends don't gamble away each other's money. He tells her that someone who betrays once will betray 1,000 times. Tanya, panic-stricken, turns to Walter for help, reminding him that he once loved her. She begs him to save her, but when he ignores her, she snaps and begins hurling insults, calling him a coward. Ignoring her outburst, Finocchio climbs back into his cart and leaves. Noel then hands the old man the promised 1 million filis. The old man, full of resentment, insults Noel. Sarcastically, Noel advises him to learn from Tanya if he wants to curse someone properly. In response, the old man calls Noel a soulless demon. Among seekers, being called a demon is the worst insult imaginable, but Noel simply accepts it. In fact, he plans to embrace that reputation to become the strongest in the world. The following day, Walter meets Noel at the city's gates. He asks if Noel came to see him off. Without a word, Noel hands him a bottle of the same alcohol they drank from the night before. That night, Walter had made a decision. He was done being a seeker. Noel tells him that he's a great warrior and that they could find new companions, rebuild the group. But the events of the past day have left a mark on Walter. He's determined to leave this life behind. As Walter watches Noel walk away, he wonders if his friend has a heart. He knows that Tanya had genuinely loved Noel, but Noel was always after something else, strength and power. Walter realizes that the only thing truly special about their group was Noel. With a heavy heart, he toasts to his old friend, unsure if he'll ever see him again. On the streets of the capital, a strange woman reads a notice and smiles, for she has finally found Noel. At the bar, a hunter named Wolf playfully mocks Noel, telling him that no one will attend the interview he scheduled because all the decent hunters already have teams. Noel, in his serious tone, tells him that it is none of his business and asks him to leave. However, Wolf insists that he should join his team, Lightning Bite. The team consists of Wolf as the leader, his elf archer Lisha, and 3 other members. The group is ranked C, and all the members are very promising and talented. Wolf insists that Noel would do better with them than begging for hunters. Wolf's companions appear and tell him to leave Noel alone, and mention that the flower girl rejected him because he was too intense. Wolf feels embarrassed that they have revealed details of his private life. Noel accepts the offer, but on one condition: he will be the leader. All the members gladly agree, except Wolf, who reminds them that he is the leader and founder of Lightning Bite. Licia replies that it would be better since Noel is smarter than Wolf. Wolf agrees, but clearly doesn't like the idea. Suddenly, a mysterious woman appears, putting everyone on guard. No one had noticed her presence. The woman introduces herself as Alma and says that she saw the notice and wants to join the team. Noel asks her age, since minors can't be hunters. She replies that she's 21, so there's no problem. The other members of Lightning Bite ask unnecessary questions, but Alma answers them without hesitation. Noel asks her about her class and rank, and she replies that she's a scout, C rank. Scouts and archers are good at spotting enemies, and Noel thinks she could be useful. Finally, he asks her why she wants to become a seeker. She replies that she's not interested in being a seeker, she's just interested in Overdeath's grandson. Noel is shocked and asks if she knew his grandfather. She says no, but his grandfather fought him and lost an arm in battle. Noel asks if she is seeking revenge. She says no, she just wants to see what kind of seeker Overdeath's grandson is. Noel understands and tells her that his grandfather has been dead for a long time, but apologizes on his behalf. Alma says that her own grandfather died a month ago, and she wants to put the past behind her. Noel asks what her grandfather's name was. Alma says his name was Alcor Judicali. Everyone in the bar becomes alert upon hearing the name. Alcor was the founder and leader of the Assassin's Guild, a place where they get rid of anyone for money. A very large and strong seeker named Logan overhears her and calls her a liar. Wolf tries to stop him, but it's no use. Logan says that in seeker bars there is an unwritten rule. Only seekers with a certain reputation are allowed to enter, and regulars are allowed to beat up those who don't meet the standard. Alma raises her hand and asks Noel how a seeker's reputation is determined. He replies that it's first by class and rank, and then by strength and appearance. Alma understands that to increase her reputation, she just needs to defeat Logan. Angry, Logan attacks Alma, but with extraordinary speed, she counterattacks and finishes him off with a kick. Shocked by what just happened, Noel hires her on the spot. Alma's stomach growls, and she tells Noel that she's hungry. Noel buys her some bread and takes her to watch the sunset. Alma thoroughly enjoys the bread, saying that nothing in the mountains tastes as good as this. Noel is now convinced that she is Alcor's granddaughter. She finds it curious that he didn't believe her, while she immediately knew he was Overdeath's grandson. She explains that it was because of the look in his eyes, as she can see that he would do whatever it took to win. She recounts how her grandfather told her to never face Overdeath, as he was strong and unpredictable, so no one could defeat him. Noel's gaze reminded her of those words. Noel asks her if she trained in the mountains to become an assassin. Alma replies that she was planning to be a scout, then an assassin, and work her way up. Although she is not officially B rank, she has the qualifications for it. She shows him a tattoo of a sword on her chest. Noel asks her why she didn't join the Assassin's Guild. Alma replies that that was her plan. On the day of her final exam, she was assigned a rival. Alma defeated him with a couple of quick moves. After immobilizing him, she pulled out a knife, ready to finish him off. The man accepted his defeat and begged her not to do it. Alma replied that her grandfather had told her that only the strongest survive here. But the injured man replied that those traditions were a thing of the past. But Alma didn't care and prepared to finish him off. A man easily stopped her. Alma asked him who he was, and he introduced himself as Simon Gregory, the leader of the guild. After that, they kicked her out, telling her that she didn't belong there. They recognized her strength but said she lacked other necessary skills. Alma knows they wanted to change the guild with the new leadership and didn't need people like her who adhered to the old norms. Even though the guild had always been independent, she knew they would soon make a pact with the government and become affiliates of the crown, focusing on espionage. Noel is surprised to hear this. He knows this is very important information and not a time for eating while watching the sunset. Alma remembers she was told it was a secret and asks what she should do. Now Noel is worried they'll send assassins to silence him, but Alma tells him not to worry because she, his sister, is there to protect him. The next day, they go to the forest to train. Noelle asks how much she knows about enhancers and support classes. Alma replies not much, only that they are weak and use spells to enhance the abilities of others. Noelle tells her that's true, but it's not that simple. He explains that there are many enhancement effects, and they must be used with precision and care. For example, if he enhances an ability and his teammates attack, it's likely even the other members of the team will get hurt. He also tells her that he can't enhance himself, so he relies on others to survive. Alma says she believes he could survive a fight alone. Noelle responds that if he couldn't, he would have fallen a long time ago. They reach a river, and Noelle gives her a mission. In that forest, there are several monsters. Her task is to hunt one while he enhances her abilities. He shows her a drawing of a rabbit with a metal horn, which Alma finds adorable. Noelle tells her it's dangerous, and if she underestimates it, things could end badly. Alma confidently says she doesn't need his help to hunt a simple rabbit, and Noelle adds that now she should imagine how things will go with an enhancer. Alma assumes it will only be easier, but Noelle tells her it's not that simple as it takes skill to make the most of enhancements. He asks if she has the scout ability, acceleration. She replies yes, and that it doubles her speed. Noelle asks if she could use it from the start. She answers no, because she had to train her body to withstand the increased speed. Otherwise, her bones would have broken, and her muscles would have torn. Noelle tells her that the same will happen with enhancements, and with this test, they will find out how compatible they are. The result will determine their future as a team. He mentions that their old group was good, but it took them a month to get used to their enhancements. Motivated, Alma is determined to succeed faster. Noelle asks how many rabbits are around her. Alma begins tracking and spots 13 within a 200-meter radius. Noelle begins the test and uses his enhancement on her. Alma notices that she feels different, feeling the power emanating from her body. Noelle tells her that as long as she follows his commands, that power will increase. Noelle tells her to increase her speed, and she can now multiply it by 6. He sets his stopwatch and tells her that she will pass if she can catch a rabbit in under 10 seconds. He gives the command to hunt a rabbit, and the test begins. Alma increases her speed and begins running. She catches a rabbit easily and notices how light her body feels as her speed increases. Alma returns with Noelle carrying the 13 rabbits, having completed the task in just 8.6 seconds. Noelle is surprised that he came back with all of them, and even more surprised that he adapted so quickly to the upgrade. It's clear that he has a natural talent. Alma asks if there is another test, but Noelle tells her that it isn't necessary, that they are ready for their first mission. Alma is excited, as it will be her first time in an abyss. Noelle shows her a letter, and it seems that they will be sent to a village that was previously cleared of monsters. The new Blue Beyond's first mission is to hunt down thieves. They travel to the village by carriage. Alma is excited, as it is her first time in one. Noelle tells her that she will only enjoy it at first, as the journey to the village is long, and by the end, she will feel very uncomfortable. She decides to make the most of the time and tells him about the tasks that the Seekers perform. He explains that they not only hunt beasts in the abyss, but also hunt monsters in the forests, capture criminals, search for treasures, and explore abandoned ruins. He tells her that the town they're going to help is agricultural and poor, so the pay will be small, but it will be a good way to test themselves as a team. Alma likes the idea of helping those in need and punishing the wicked. They arrive in a town, and indeed, Alma is uncomfortable and now hates carriages. They decide to spend the night there and continue to the village the next day. They start looking for lodging, but all the rooms are occupied. It takes them a long time to find a room, but it only has one bed. Noelle offers it to Alma, but she says the bed is big enough for both of them. Noelle is embarrassed and refuses, but Alma insists since she's his sister anyway. Noelle says she's not and goes into the bathroom. After a shower, he comes out to find Alma doing her stretches. Seeing him, Alma approaches to analyze Noelle's body. She notices that he's strong, and it's obvious he has worked hard on his physique, which she considers a shame, as with his class, it's a waste. If he were a warrior like Overdeath, she's sure he would already be the best seeker in the world. Noelle asks her to close her eyes. She does, and he flicks her on the forehead, telling her to mind her own business and sends her to shower while he tries to sleep. That night, Noelle can't stop thinking about Alma's words and how much truth there was in them. He remembers his grandfather saying that regardless of his class, he would train him to become the best seeker in the world.